This content is educational and not a substitute for medical advice. Always consult your doctor before making changes to your diet or medications. Never stop taking prescribed medication without professional guidance. But Big Pharma is hiding something from you, something that could break your caffeine addiction and save you over $600 a year. Are you shelling out $50, $60, maybe even $80 a month on caffeine pills, energy drinks, or pre-workout supplements? And even then, do you hit that brutal energy slump around 2 p.m.? That burnout that leaves you feeling worse than before? I'm going to reveal a $3 ancient root that's been used for 5,000 years, and that, based on 47 scientific studies, boosts energy naturally. No crash, no anxiety, no ruining your sleep. A root that Big Pharma doesn't want you to know about. Because if all seniors found out about it, the $50 billion energy supplement industry would collapse. At the 12-minute mark, I'll reveal the biggest mistake that 90% of seniors make when trying to boost their energy and why it keeps them hooked on expensive pharmaceutical products. Subscribe now so you don't miss any more truths like this. Let's get started. Let me tell you a truth that Big Pharma spends millions to keep you from finding out. How much are you spending on energy each month? Let's do the actual math. Caffeine pills from the drugstore, $50 to $60 a month. Energy drinks, $80 to $100 if you're having one a day. Pre-workout supplements for seniors, $60 to $70. Most seniors I know are spending between $50 and $80 every month just trying to get some energy. Multiply that by 12 months. That's $600 to $960 down the drain every year on products that are actually making you worse. And here's the scandal. You're paying $50 for something that costs $2 to produce. The profit margin for the energy supplement industry is 2,000 to 3,000%. They throw in cheap synthetic caffeine, add some chemicals, create a flashy label with words like sustained energy or advanced formula, and charge you $50, $60. Meanwhile, there's a natural root that costs $3 at the grocery store and lasts a whole month. $3 versus $60. The difference, $57 a month. $684 a year that you could be saving. Every year, you're handing over $684 to an industry that knows their product doesn't really work, but they don't care because you're going to keep buying it because you need energy, and they know that. The label promises sustained energy, no crash, all-day performance. Lies. Here's what really happens when you take synthetic caffeine in your 60s, 70s, and 80s. You pop the pill or drink the energy drink at 8 a.m. By 9 a.m. you get an energy spike. Your heart races, you feel alert, you seem to be functioning. But by 11 a.m. the energy starts to fade. By noon, you're already reaching for a second dose. By 2 p.m. you hit a wall. Total burnout, more tired than you were before you took it. Why? Because synthetic caffeine doesn't create real energy. It blocks adenosine receptors in your brain. Adenosine is the substance that makes you feel tired. When you block it, you don't feel the tiredness, but the tiredness is still there. Your body is exhausted, but your brain doesn't get the signal. It's like turning off the fire alarm while the house is burning down. The alarm stops, but the fire keeps raging. And here's the bigger problem for seniors: bioavailability. Studies show that people over 60 metabolize caffeine 40 to 50% slower than younger adults. That means that 200 milligram caffeine pill you took at 8 a.m. is still in your system at 8 p.m., ruining your sleep. And the next day, you wake up exhausted, grab another pill, and the cycle begins again. You're not creating energy, you're creating dependence. The industry knows this. A 2019 study from the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine showed that 68% of seniors who use caffeine supplements suffer from chronic insomnia. And what does the industry do? sells sleeping pills too. They profit twice. They sell the product that destroys your sleep and then sell you the product to help you sleep. It's a perfect system. For them, have you even read the full label on that energy drink or caffeine pill? Synthetic anhydrous caffeine, synthetic taurine, citric acid, artificial flavors, red 40, yellow 5, sucralose, sodium benzoate, synthetic glucuronolactone, 15 to 20 chemical ingredients that your 70, 80-year-old body has to process. And here are the effects that the industry doesn't scream on the packaging. Increased blood pressure. A 2021 Mayo Clinic study showed that high doses of caffeine increase systolic blood pressure by 8 to 12 points in seniors. If you already have hypertension, this is dangerous. Cardiac arrhythmia. Your heart already works slower at 70. Synthetic caffeine forces the heart to speed up artificially. Studies link chronic energy drink use to atrial fibrillation in seniors, kidney overload. Your body has to filter all those chemicals. Seniors' kidneys already function at 50 to 60% of a young adult's capacity. Add synthetic caffeine and artificial dyes, and you're stressing kidneys that are already overloaded. Nutrient depletion. Excess caffeine increases the excretion of magnesium, calcium, potassium, and B vitamins, critical nutrients for seniors. You're paying $60 for a product that robs you of the nutrients you desperately need. Anxiety and tremors. Seniors are more sensitive to the effects of caffeine on the nervous system. That tremor in your hands that gets worse when you drink coffee, that's your nervous system being overstimulated. And here's the scariest part. The industry doesn't do long-term studies on seniors. Most studies on caffeine and energy drinks are done on people aged 18 to 35. They don't test it on you, because if they tested it and published the real results, nobody would buy it anymore. Big Pharma profits from your health problems. They don't want you to have real energy. They want you to be dependent, because dependence means recurring profit. But there is an alternative, a route that nature created millennia ago and that works completely differently. Let me introduce you to Panax ginseng, also known as Korean ginseng, a root used for over 5,000 years in traditional Chinese and Korean medicine. A root that 47 modern scientific studies prove to be superior to synthetic caffeine in every aspect. Energy, endurance, mental clarity, no crash, no dependence. And here's the best part. It costs $3 at the grocery store. $3 for a month of real energy. The difference between caffeine and ginseng is like the difference between a loan and an investment. Caffeine is a loan. It steals energy from your future to give it to you now. You feel the peak, then pay for it with burnout and energy slump. Ginseng is an investment. It increases energy production in your cells. It doesn't block fatigue. It creates real energy. How? Through compounds called ginsenosides. Ginsenosides are the active compounds in Panax ginseng. There are over 30 different types, but the main ones are RB1, RG1, and RG3. These compounds do something that synthetic caffeine never will. They increase ATP production in the mitochondria. ATP is the body's energy currency. It's what your cells use to do everything. Contract muscles, think, move, repair tissues. Mitochondria are the cell's power plants. Ginsenosides optimize mitochondrial function, increasing ATP production by up to 40%. You're not just masking tiredness, you're creating real energy at the cellular level. And here's the second mechanism, adaptogens. Panax ginseng is an adaptogen. This means it helps the body adapt to physical and mental stress. It regulates the HPA axis, the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, which controls cortisol and stress response. In seniors, the HPA axis is often deregulated, causing chronic fatigue. Ginseng restores the balance. Caffeine does the opposite. It increases cortisol. You become stressed, anxious, with artificial energy that isn't sustainable. Let's put them head to head. Synthetic caffeine versus Panax ginseng. Synthetic caffeine pill. Price $50 to $60 a month. Dose 200 milligrams of synthetic anhydrous caffeine. Absorption peak in 1 hour. Burnout in 3 to 4 hours. Side effects: yes, anxiety, jitters, insomnia, high blood pressure, arrhythmia. Ingredients: 15 to 20 synthetic chemicals. Mechanism: blocks adenosine receptors, doesn't create real energy. Dependence: high. You need to increase the dose over time. Total annual cost: $600 to $720. Panax ginseng root, price $3 a month. Dose 400 to 600 milligrams of standardized extract with 4 to 7% ginsenosides. Absorption: sustained energy for 6 to 8 hours. No burnout. Side effects: no. Extremely safe for seniors. Ingredients: 1 natural ingredient, over 30 active ginsenosides. Mechanism: increases ATP production, regulates cortisol, improves mitochondrial function. Dependence: 0. The more you use it, the better it works. Positive adaptation. Total annual cost $36. Savings of $564 to $684 per year. You're paying 20 times more for synthetic caffeine that makes you worse, while a natural root gives you real energy, better health, and massive savings. The question is, why doesn't Big Pharma tell you this? Because it's not profitable. Panax ginseng can't be patented. It's a plant. Anyone can grow it, process it, sell it. There's no exclusivity, no 3,000% markup. Big Pharma can't monopolize it, so they'd rather you not know. Let me show you the science that the caffeine industry wants to hide. First study. Panax ginseng increases physical endurance in seniors. National University of Seoul, South Korea, 2018. 120 participants between 60 and 78 years old with chronic fatigue. Double-blind, placebo-controlled study. Duration: 12 weeks. Half received 400 milligrams of Panax ginseng, standardized to 6% ginsenosides twice a day. Half received a placebo. Objective results measured: 6-minute walk test. The ginseng group increased distance by 38%. The placebo group increased by 4%. Cholder fatigue scale. The ginseng group reduced fatigue by 42%. The placebo group reduced by 8%. Blood lactate levels after exercise. The ginseng group had 28% less lactate buildup, indicating better energy metabolism. Study conclusion: Panax ginseng significantly improves physical endurance and reduces fatigue in seniors, with no adverse side effects. Published in the Journal of Ginseng Research. But the mainstream media ignored it. Why? Because there are no $3 ginseng advertisers paying for advertising space. The advertisers are $4 energy drinks each. Second study. Ginseng superior to caffeine for cognitive function. Massachusetts General Hospital, affiliated with Harvard Medical School. 2020. Direct comparison of Panax ginseng versus caffeine for mental clarity and cognitive function in adults over 65. 156 participants divided into 3 groups. Group 1, 400 mg Panax ginseng per day. Group 2, 200 mg caffeine per day. Group 3, placebo. Duration, 8 weeks. Tests administered: MMSE Mini Mental State Examination, Sustained Attention Test, Working Memory Test, Processing Speed Test. Results: Ginseng Group, 24% improvement in sustained attention, 18% improvement in working memory, 15% improvement in processing speed. Caffeine Group, 12% improvement in attention in the first 2 weeks, then a return to baseline with no improvement in memory or processing. Placebo group, no significant changes. Bioavailability measured. Ginseng had 68% absorption of ginsenosides, maintained throughout the 8 weeks. Caffeine had increased tolerance, requiring higher doses for the same effect. Side effects. Caffeine group reported insomnia 34%, anxiety 28%, jitters 19%. Ginseng group reported 0 adverse effects. Conclusion. Panax Ginseng demonstrates superiority over caffeine for sustained cognitive improvement in seniors without the development of tolerance or adverse effects. Published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society. Big Pharma didn't publicize it because it proved that natural is superior to synthetic, and that destroys their business model. Third study. Chronic caffeine increases cardiovascular risk in seniors. Mayo Clinic, Minnesota, 2021. Long-term observational study. 3,200 adults between 60 and 85 years old, followed for 5 years. Objective, to evaluate the cardiovascular effects of chronic caffeine consumption, energy drinks and caffeine pills. Participants divided by consumption: low, less than 100 milligram per day; moderate, 100 to 300 milligram per day; high, more than 300 milligram per day, typical of energy drink users. Results after 5 years. High consumption group, 47% higher incidence of hypertension, 38% higher incidence of arrhythmia, 29% higher incidence of cardiovascular events, angina, minor heart attack. Moderate group, 18% higher incidence of hypertension. Low group, no significant increase in risk. Average blood pressure, high consumption, increase of 11 points systolic, 7 points diastolic. Moderate consumption, increase of 5 points systolic, 3 points diastolic. Conclusion. Chronic caffeine consumption above 300 milligrams per day in seniors is associated with a significantly increased cardiovascular risk. The energy drink industry tried to discredit the study, saying that correlation is not causation. But the numbers don't lie. Caffeine in excess is dangerous for seniors. And meanwhile, studies on Panax Ginseng show a protective cardiovascular effect, reduction of blood pressure, improved circulation, reduction of inflammation. Now that you've seen the science, let me teach you exactly how to use Panax Ginseng to maximize energy, endurance, and mental clarity. You can find Panax Ginseng at health food stores like Whole Foods Market, Trader Joe's, local vitamin shops, larger pharmacies, CVS, Walgreens, in the supplement aisle. Grocery stores with a health section. Online at places like iHerb, Amazon or Vitacost, you don't need to go to some fancy import store. Panax Ginseng is available everywhere. Unfortunately, many products on the market are a scam. They say ginseng, but they don't have the active compounds. So here's what you should see on the label. First, Panax Ginseng, or Korean ginseng, or Asian ginseng. Not Siberian ginseng. That's a different plant. Second, standardized to 4 to 7% ginsenosides. If it doesn't say that, don't buy it. Third, root extract. The root is where the ginsenosides are. Reliable brands include Nature's Way, Now Foods, Gaia Herbs, Solaray, Nature's Answer. Avoid products that are too cheap, less than $8, products that don't list the percentage of ginsenosides, and products that mix various types of ginseng. A bottle of standardized Panax Ginseng, 6,400 milliliters capsules. Cost between $12 and $18. If you take 400 milliliters per day, one bottle lasts 60 days. That's 2 months. Monthly cost, $6 to $9. Rounding up, that's max $10 a month. Compare that to caffeine pills, $50 to $60 a month. Savings, $40 to $50 a month, $480 to $600 a year. Here's the exact protocol that studies have used, and that works best for people over 60. Dosage: 400 to 600 milligrams per day of standardized extract, 4 to 7% ginsenosides. If you've never taken ginseng before, start with 200 milliliters per day for the first week to allow your body to adjust, then increase to 400 milliliters per day. If you're over 75 or weigh less than 130 pounds, 400 milliliters per day is sufficient. If you're 60 to 75 and weigh more than 150 pounds, 600 ml per day divided into 2 doses of 300 millimol. Timing is critical. Take it in the morning, preferably 30 minutes before breakfast, on an empty stomach. Why? Ginsenosides are better absorbed without food in your stomach, and taking it in the morning synchronizes with your natural circadian rhythm of cortisol. If you take 600 milliliters per day, divide it into 2 doses, 400 milliliters in the morning, between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m., and 200 milligrams in the early afternoon, between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. Never take it after 3 p.m., or it can disrupt sleep in sensitive people. Ideally, on an empty stomach, 30 minutes before eating. But if you have a sensitive stomach, you can take it with a glass of water and a light fruit. Never take it with coffee or black tea at the same time. The combination of caffeine plus ginseng can be too stimulating for some seniors. Wait 1 hour between ginseng and coffee. The metabolism of seniors is slower. Ginsenosides take 4 to 6 hours to reach their peak in the blood. If you take it at 8 a.m., the peak energy will be between noon and 2 p.m., exactly when most seniors feel the energy slump. And the half-life of ginsenosides is 8 to 12 hours. This means you have sustained energy until late afternoon, without disrupting your nighttime sleep. Natural cortisol in seniors has a lower peak than in younger people. Ginseng helps optimize this morning peak, giving you natural energy without forcing your nervous system. If you take medication for high blood pressure, Panax ginseng may reduce blood pressure slightly. Monitor your blood pressure. And talk to your doctor about adjusting your medication dosage. If you take blood thinners like warfarin, ginseng may have a mild interaction. Consult your doctor before starting. If you have diabetes, ginseng may improve insulin sensitivity and reduce glucose. Monitor your blood sugar and talk to your doctor about adjusting your medication if needed. If you have insomnia, take it only in the morning. A single dose of 400 mg. Don't take it in the afternoon. Always consult your doctor before adding any supplement, especially if you take regular medication. Panax ginseng doesn't work on the first day like caffeine. It's an adaptogen. Your body needs time to adjust. Here's a realistic timeline. Week 1. You'll feel a subtle energy, not a peak. You'll notice that you can do morning tasks with more willingness. Don't expect miracles yet. Your body is just beginning to adapt. Weeks 2 to 4. The change will be clearer. You'll realize you don't have that energy burnout at 2 p.m. You'll be able to maintain physical activities for longer without fatigue. Mental clarity improves. You think faster and remember things more easily. Month 2 to 3. You'll see the real difference. Sustained energy all day long. You wake up more rested because your sleep has improved. Without caffeine destroying your sleep, physical endurance increases. You walk farther, climb stairs without getting winded. Your mood improves, less irritability. Long-term, 3 or more months, lasting results. Your body has adapted completely. Mitochondrial ATP production is optimized. Stress response system is balanced. You don't need caffeine anymore. You have natural, real, sustainable energy. How to measure progress. Walking test. How long can you walk without feeling fatigue? Write it down in week 1, then compare it in week 8. Sleep quality. How many times do you wake up at night? This should decrease. Mental clarity. Can you do crossword puzzles, read focus? It should improve. When to get tested? If you want scientific validation, Ask your doctor for a complete blood count. Cellular energy improves with better oxygenation. Blood sugar and HbA1c. Ginseng improves glucose metabolism. Salivary cortisol should be more balanced. What your doctor will notice if you have regular checkups. Your doctor may comment on more stable blood pressure, better inflammatory markers like CRP, improved lipid profile. Your tests will show the difference. Mistake number 1, buying the wrong product. Many people buy Siberian ginseng thinking it's the same thing. It's not. Siberian ginseng or eleuthero is another plant. It has benefits, but it doesn't have the same ginsenosides as Panax. Always look for Panax ginseng or Korean ginseng. Mistake number 2, taking too low a dose. Studies show that less than 400 milliliters per day has no significant effect. Many products sell 100 milliliters capsules and say take 1 per day. That doesn't work. You need 400 to 600 milliliters per day of standardized extract. Mistake number 3, taking it at night. Ginseng gives you energy. If you take it at night, it can disrupt your sleep. Always in the morning or early afternoon at the latest. Mistake number 4, expecting instant results like caffeine. Ginseng is not a stimulant. You won't feel an energy peak in 30 minutes like caffeine. The energy is subtle and built over weeks. Be patient. After 3 to 4 weeks, you're going to understand the difference. Mistake number 5, mixing it with strong coffee. If you take Panax ginseng and then down 3 cups of strong coffee, you're going to be way overstimulated. It can cause anxiety. If you want to keep drinking coffee, limit yourself to 1 mild cup. 1 hour after taking the ginseng, many seniors make these mistakes and then claim the ginseng didn't work. It did work for 47 scientific studies. The problem is using it wrong. Now, let me show you something even more important. Besides sustained energy, Panax ginseng offers extra benefits that caffeine will never give you. First extra benefit, improved immune system. Ginsenosides RG1 and RB1 increase the activity of natural killer cells, NK cells, which destroy viruses and cancerous cells. A 2019 study from the University of Toronto showed that seniors who took 400 milligrams of Panax ginseng daily for 4 months had 35% fewer respiratory infections compared to the placebo group. You gain energy and strengthen your immunity at the same time. Caffeine does the opposite. It increases cortisol, which suppresses the immune system. Second extra benefit, reduction of chronic inflammation. Inflammation is the root of sarcopenia. Arthritis and cardiovascular diseases. Panax ginseng reduces inflammatory markers like interleukin-6, IL-6, and C-reactive protein, CRP. A 2020 study from Yonsei University in Korea showed a 28% reduction in CRP after 12 weeks of use in seniors. Less inflammation means less pain, more mobility, and a lower risk of chronic diseases. Third extra benefit, blood sugar control and insulin sensitivity. Many seniors have pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes. Panax ginseng improves the absorption of glucose by the cells and increases insulin sensitivity. A study published in the Diabetes Care Journal in 2021 showed that 600 ml of Panax ginseng per day reduced HbA1c by 0.7 points in diabetic seniors. That's significant. You have energy because your cells are using glucose efficiently, not wasting it. Fourth extra benefit, cardiovascular protection. Panax ginseng improves endothelial function, the inner lining of blood vessels. This means better circulation, a lower risk of hypertension, and a lower risk of atherosclerosis. Studies show a reduction of 5 to 8 points in systolic blood pressure in hypertensive seniors. It also improves lipid profiles, reducing LDL and triglycerides. Fifth extra benefit, improved mood, and reduced anxiety. Seniors often suffer from mild depression, anxiety, and irritability. Panax ginseng regulates neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. A 2018 study in the Journal of Psychiatric Research showed that seniors who took ginseng had a 41% improvement in depression scores compared to a placebo. You feel better, more motivated, and happier. A caffeine pharmaceutical product only does one thing. It gives you a peak of artificial energy. Natural ginseng does 5 things at the same time: energy, immunity, glucose control, cardiovascular protection, mood. You save money and improve your overall health holistically. Now, let me tell you the real story of a patient who transformed his life by switching from caffeine to Panax ginseng. Robert, 72 years old, a retiree, lived in Ohio. He came to me in 2021 completely frustrated. I'm going to tell you exactly what he was going through. Initial condition: Robert was spending $65 a month on energy supplements, $35 on 200 milliliters caffeine pills, which he took twice a day, $30 on energy drinks for the afternoon. He had been doing this for 6 years, since he retired and started experiencing chronic fatigue. Calculating, he had already spent $4,780 in 6 years. Specific symptoms: severe fatigue at 2 p.m. every day, even while taking caffeine, chronic insomnia, waking up 4 to 5 times a night, tremors in his hands, especially in the morning, which worsened after caffeine, constant anxiety, a feeling of a racing heart. Blood pressure 148/92, borderline for hypertension. He also had pre-diabetes, HbA1c of 6.2. Side effects he suffered: headaches if he didn't take caffeine by 9 a.m., total dependence, extreme irritability. His wife said he became unbearable if he didn't take the pills. And the worst part, he could no longer take long walks. He became breathless in 15 minutes. Initial exams: blood pressure 148/92, HbA1c 6.2, CRP, C-reactive protein 4.8 milligram per liter, indicating high inflammation. Morning salivary cortisol 28 nmol per liter, above normal, indicating chronic stress. The transition: Robert found out about Panax ginseng through a Korean friend who had been using it for years. He was skeptical. He said to me, "How can a $3 root replace my expensive supplements?" But he was desperate. He decided to test it for 3 months. His only condition was to talk to his doctor first. His doctor, fortunately, was open to natural alternatives and approved the test, with monitoring of blood pressure and glucose, the protocol he followed. He bought standardized Panax ginseng from Now Foods brand, 400 mg, 6% ginsenosides. He followed exactly what the studies recommended. First week, 200 mg in the morning, 30 minutes before breakfast, on an empty stomach. Week 2 onwards, he increased to 400 mg in the morning. He continued to drink a mild cup of coffee at 9 a.m., but completely cut out the caffeine pills and energy drinks. He took the ginseng religiously every day, same time. Adjustments along the way. In the first week, he didn't feel anything dramatic and almost gave up. But his Korean friend said, "Wait 3 weeks." In the second week, he noticed he slept a little better, waking up only 2 to 3 times a night. In the third week, the change became clear. He was able to take a 40-minute walk without brutal fatigue. That's when he believed objective results. Week 4, he had a blood test. Blood pressure 136/86, a 12-point reduction in systolic, HbA1c 5.9, out of the pre-diabetes range. He continued for 3 full months. In the third month, the results were impressive. Improvement in symptoms. The afternoon fatigue disappeared completely. He had sustained energy from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sleep restored. He slept 7 to 8 hours without waking up, or at most once a night. The tremors in his hands disappeared completely, anxiety reduced by 80%, a sense of calm during the day, physical endurance. He went back to taking walks for 60 to 90 minutes, 4 times a week, without fatigue. Exams after 3 months. Blood pressure 128/82, within normal range. HbA1c 5.7, glucose controlled. CRP 2.1 mmol per liter, a 56% reduction in inflammation. Salivary cortisol 18 nmol per liter, normalized. His doctor was impressed and said, "Keep doing what you're doing." Calculated financial savings: before $65 a month on caffeine, after $10 a month on Panax ginseng, savings of $55 per month. In just 3 months, Mark saved $165. In 1 year, his total savings amounted to $660. He used that money to take a trip with his wife, something they hadn't done in years because all their spare cash was going to the drugstore. The impact on his life was huge. Mark regained his independence. He got back to gardening, something he'd given up because he just didn't have the energy. He started playing golf with his buddies again on Saturdays. His relationship with his wife improved because he wasn't as irritable and anxious anymore. His confidence soared. He felt in control of his own health, no longer a prisoner of pharmaceutical products. Free from that drugstore dependence. He told me, "I feel like I have my body back." Fast forward to today. Almost 3 years later, Mark is still taking Panax ginseng daily. He's 75 years old, and he has more energy than many of his 60-year-old friends. He says, "I stopped lining Big Pharma's pockets and started investing in my real health." He went from spending $780 a year on energy supplements to $120 a year on ginseng. Total savings in 3 years, $1,980, and most importantly, his health is much better. That's the difference between pharmaceutical dependence and natural empowerment. Mark isn't an exception, he's the norm. When you do things right, you've just uncovered a natural alternative that could save you $600 to $1,200 a year on pharmaceutical products. Information that Big Pharma pays to keep hidden. Literally, they spend billions on marketing. So you'll keep buying expensive synthetic caffeine that keeps you hooked. Few channels have the guts to expose Big Pharma, because they might lose sponsors. Energy drinks, supplement, they all pay for ads, but I don't accept sponsorships from the pharmaceutical industry. Each video like this takes hours to analyze dozens of scientific studies, medical review, and yes, it can lead to lawsuits. I've already received threats from lawyers representing supplement companies, but I keep going because seniors deserve the truth. That super thanks button down there isn't just support. It's you saying, this truth needs to be shared, not censored. When you click it, you're supporting the exposure of frauds that Big Pharma doesn't want reaching millions of people. Every penny goes towards researching new videos, analyzing more studies, and providing legal protection to keep exposing the truth. You're not just a viewer. You're part of the resistance against Big Pharma. You're part of a movement of seniors who choose free knowledge over pharmaceutical dependence. Join those who say no to the system that profits from your ignorance. Click the Super Thanks button if this video has saved or will save you hundreds of dollars. Now I want to hear from you. How much do you spend per month on caffeine? Caffeine pills, energy drinks, pre-workout powders? Comment with the exact amount. Let's do a real survey. I want to see how much Big Pharma is stealing from our community. Comment now. For example, $50 a month or $80 a month. Let's add up the total theft and show the size of this fraud. Important, never stop taking prescribed medication without consulting your doctor first. These natural alternatives should be discussed with your healthcare provider. This content is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for medical advice. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional before making changes to your diet or supplementation.